Okay, so let's look at writing recipes. So recipes are instructions that tell us how to make something, so how to make a meal. And recipes are really important because it's passed down. Sometimes it's like a special way that your grandmother makes something and she wrote it down on a piece of paper for you so that you can make it. So recipes have always been really important in families, especially when it's a traditional meal, and it's, you know, the love of food, the love of cooking. So people always like to share how to make a food from their country with other people. So let's look at writing recipes, and especially, you know, increasing our vocabulary with talking about ingredients, you know, what is in the food, and how to write a recipe. So how can we tell someone else how to make something? Maybe we've made something and someone says, wow, that tastes really great. How did you make it? So you are able to tell them, how did you make this food, whatever it is. Okay, so recipes, let's get into it. I'll show you an example of a recipe first. So this is an example of a recipe. It's a chicken in creamy mushroom soup. Okay, so we have, sometimes you read a little introduction. So this one says, a simple chicken dish that is easy to prepare to impress that special someone. Then you'll see the ingredients, or it will say something like what you need. Now, in a recipe, you will always put the measurements first. So this one says 500 grams of chicken breast, 100 grams of mushroom, a dash of olive oil, 1 cup of thickened cream, 1 teaspoon garlic paste, 1 cup of white wine, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese, and salt and pepper to taste. So that means, you know, you can put as much as you want, salt and pepper, as much as you like. Then you're going to read the next part, which will say preparation, or the steps, what you need to do, what to do. So for example, step 1, chop the chicken breast lengthwise and season with salt and pepper. Add olive oil to a pan, or it could also be called a skillet, over a medium heat, and then sear the chicken for 4 to 5 minutes per side until golden. Transfer to a plate. Step 2, slice the mushrooms and saute in a small pan with garlic. Add white wine, turn the heat down and let it reduce. Step 3, pour in the thickened cream and then add the chicken breast for 4 to 5 minutes. Step 4, serve it with Parmesan cheese. And sometimes you'll see a side note or, you know, a little extra information. You can substitute the chicken for beef, and this is how filet mignon is made. Okay, so in this example, you can see that this is a recipe for chicken and it's cooked in a creamy mushroom sauce. Okay, so really important, we need to be able to have this kind of structure. So you would have the title of the recipe. If you want, it's really nice to always add a little introduction. So you could say maybe where the food originally comes from, or you could just say, you know, this is a special recipe from my grandmother who used to make this for us every Sundays. Okay, something, you know, always tell people why this food is special and why you want to share it with other people. And as I said, in the ingredients, we always write the measurement first, and then what ingredients do we need? Okay, so it could be fruits, vegetables, meats, all sorts of, you know, sauces, different types of ingredients, depend on what you're making. And of course, the preparation. The best thing to do is write it in steps, really clearly. So step 1, do this, step 2, do this, and then do this. So you need to really explain all the steps. You have to imagine that the person doesn't know how to make the food. So you have to tell them exactly what to do. Okay, now before we get into looking at some more recipes, let's have a look at some grammar. We're going to be talking about punctuations. Okay, so punctuations are things like this, a full stop. So we know that we have a full stop at the end of a sentence. So it completes the sentence that you're saying. Okay, and it's just a dot, and we call this a full stop. Then you'll have a comma. Okay, so we call this a comma, and it comes between nouns, adjectives, sequent words, or between two clauses. So for example, let's have a look at what we mean with a comma. So for example, I can say I have an apple, comma, a banana, and an orange. Okay, or if we're talking about recipes, you need 500 grams of chicken, comma, 2 garlic, and whatever. So I need to put a comma, and if I want to put maybe more, so maybe comma, noun, comma, noun. Okay, so I can put as many comma after, but then the last one, just before the last noun, you must say and then this one. Okay, so you can have as many nouns as you want in a sentence. So remember, nouns are like objects, things. Okay, so if we're writing a recipe, you need 500 grams of chicken, comma, 6 garlic, comma, Parmesan cheese, comma, what else? Maybe broccoli, 100 grams of chopped broccoli, and thickened cream. Now, a comma can also be between an adjective. So if I'm talking about someone or myself, I can say, she is beautiful, comma, kind, and nice. So whenever I have adjectives, I must put a comma between them, and then the last one, I say and the adjective. And then we can see we put a full stop to end the sentence to make sure that this is one complete sentence. We also use a comma when we have these words called sequence words. So sequent words start the sentence, and they kind of tell us like steps. Like for example, if you have firstly, comma, so I would say firstly, chop the onion. Okay, full stop. Or maybe a word like first of all, comma. Okay, so these words, you must put a comma after them. Secondly, comma, chop the chicken into pieces. Or if I say however, comma, or if I say then, comma, then you need to add in the sauce. Or if I say the word afterwards, comma, or next, comma, next you need to cook on a low heat for 2 minutes. But, comma. Now you also use comma when you have a time phrase and clause. So for example, when you say, when I was a kid, comma, I enjoyed running a lot. Okay, or, yesterday, comma, I did something. Or 10 years ago, comma. Okay, so when we have a time, it says when we did this action, which we put at the beginning of a sentence, we put a comma. Or if we use words like when, or as, or while, then we need a comma. Okay, then we have these two little dots. This is called colon. And what a colon does is it introduces a list. So for example, maybe I want to write a list of ingredients that I want to buy from the supermarket. So I'm going to say something like, or maybe a list of what I need to bring to my class. So I say, please bring the following to class. And you can see I put the colon because I'm going to put a list. So 1 pen, 2 paper, 3 drink. Or maybe something like, I need to buy from the markets, then you put a colon, 2 apples, 3 oranges, 5 bananas. So anytime I want to write a list, it could be a list of things I need to buy, maybe from the market, maybe from the store, or a list of my favorite movies, or a list of whatever. Okay, so I need to use the colon here. Okay, so let's go to number 3 first. We'll just start at number, 2. So you could see I have number 3, 2, 1. Between words in a list, we use a comma. Number 2, at the end of a sentence, we use a full stop. Between 2 or more adjectives, we use a comma. To introduce a list, we use the colon. After a sequence word, we use a comma. And between 2 clauses in one sentence, we use a comma. Okay, so that was our punctuation. Really important. There's many of them, but these are just 3 of the most common punctuations. So full stop, comma, colon. Okay, so now we know what they are called and why we need to use them. So let's practice with number 2C. We have a fortune cookie. We have this little paragraph. So let's do it together. So fortune cookies are nice at the end of a meal. So we need a comma here. In a Chinese restaurant, and they're easy to make, full stop. So I need to add a full stop to finish that sentence. You need the following. So I must put a colon after the word following, because you can see I'm going to put a list. 3 pieces of paper, comma, make sure there's a comma. 3 eggs, comma. Sugar, comma. Salt and flour, and then make sure there's a full stop, because that's the end of the sentence. Okay, so you need to add these punctuations to your paragraph. First of all, comma. Write your messages on the piece of paper. Full stop. Next, comma, mix the eggs, comma, sugar, comma, salt and flour, and then pour the mixture onto a tray. Full stop. Okay, so we can see where we needed to add the comma, where we needed to add the full stop, and where we needed to add the colon. Okay, and that was our paragraph about fortune cookies as an example. Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk about as well is writing instructions. So when we write instructions, okay, just like a recipe, it's because I want to tell someone how to do or make something. So let's have a look at these examples. Number 1, you can make this cake in about 15 minutes. First of all, heat the oven to 200 degrees. Put the flour in a bowl. Next, add the milk, eggs, butter, and salt. So this, number 1, is what I will find in a cookbook. So number 1B, I will find these instructions in a recipe book, in a cookbook. Number 2, thank you for buying this home barbecue grill. Please follow these instructions. So you can see there's going to be a list. Number 1, do not use the barbecue inside a building. Number 2, never leave the children with the barbecue. So this is instructions that where would I find it? A, inside a box, because I've just bought a barbecue. So this would be some instructions which is inside that box, which tells me what to do. Number 3, store this bottle of sauce in a cool, dry place. After you open the bottle, use the sauce within 3 months. So this instruction, where would I find it? Number C, on a food label. So if you remember, if you look back at one of our lessons before, we talked about what are food labels, why they're important, and what can we see on a food label. What do all the stuff mean? All the instructions, what do they mean on a food label? So number 3, this is an instruction which is on a bottle of sauce. Okay, so now you are going to share your family recipe. So again, a family recipe, maybe your grandmother would make something, or your mother or your father, or maybe your sister or someone in your family. And it's a recipe, so it gives us instructions how to make something. It's got the title of what it is, the ingredients that we need, like rice, oil, carrots, banana, flour, bread, tomato, whatever ingredients, it tells us what we need and how to make it. Okay, so let's read some of them as examples before you write your own. So let's have a look at the grammar. Now, one thing, when you do write your recipes, you do need to just start with the verb, because when we give instructions, we just say the verb, like cut the onion, cook for 2 minutes. So just start with the verb. Okay, so this is a recipe for a fruit salad, and we can see the instruction. So don't write yet. Make sure you read this so you can get some idea how to write it first. So there's a little introduction, a healthy and refreshing option that I like at any time of the day. You need, so remember, measurement first and then the ingredient. So 2 bananas, 1 apple, 1 pear, 1 cup of strawberries, 1 cup of grapes, 1 cup of pineapple, 1 kiwi, a half a cantaloupe, and the juice of 1 lemon. What to do or how to make it. Cut the fruits and place them in a bowl. Then drizzle with lemon juice and add honey if you choose. Then mix all together and refrigerate for 30 minutes. You can adapt the type of fruits according to the season or your personal preference. Enjoy. Okay, Angeli has a recipe for these traditional Brazilian sweets. So they're called brigadeiro. Again, so always have the name of the meal or the dessert first. And a little introduction. So traditional Brazilian sweet, perfect for a birthday party, delicious. All right, ingredients: a can of condensed milk, a can of cream, 100 grams of cocoa powder and chocolate sprinkles. Preparation: in a pan over low heat, mix the condensed milk, cream and cocoa. Stir until it no longer sticks to the bottom of the pan. Then place it in a container and let it cool for about 2 hours in the fridge. After that, make the mixture into balls with your hands and roll in the chocolate sprinkles. Serve in colorful molds and enjoy. Okay, Franco, he has a recipe for roast chorizo beef with Crayola sauce and red capsicum with eggs. So he writes an incredible recipe for your special someone. Ingredients: 2 beef chorizos, 1 onion, 2 red capsicums, 2 eggs, 1 garlic, 1 yellow capsicum, 1 green capsicum, 1 tomato, vinegar, salt and black pepper. Preparation: Step 1, cut the onion, garlic, tomato, yellow, green and red capsicums into small pieces. Then add a splash of vinegar, salt and pepper. You've got the sauce now. Step 2, season the beef chorizos with a lot of salt and black pepper. Then cut a red capsicum in half and add 1 egg to the inside of each half and season again with salt and pepper. Step 3, roast the chorizos and the half capsicums in the grill. Serve with the sauce on the side and a red wine. Just enjoy. Juanita writes a recipe for flour dough. So mastitas o tortillejas. Ingredients: 1 cup plain flour, 1 cup milk, 1 egg, 1/4 cup of butter, oil, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon sugar. The steps: in a bowl, mix the flour with the milk. Add the egg and keep mixing. In a frying pan, melt the butter and then add it to a bowl and continue mixing until there are no lumps. Step 4, use the same frying pan that you melted the butter and add oil up until it fills half the pan. Step 5, when the oil is hot, with a spoon, add the mixture. Make circular movements to create a type of circular figure. Step 6, when it is golden and crispy, remove from the pan. Enjoy and accompany it with hot milk, coffee, and cheese. Sounds good. Okay, Adriano writes chicken pie recipe. Ingredients: 1 kilogram of chicken, sweet corn, peas, wheat, potatoes, water. Instructions: cook the chicken in water until it's thoroughly cooked. Then shred it up. Step 2, add the sweet corn and peas to the shredded chicken. Step 3, cook the wheat and add it to the chicken, corn and pea mixture. Step 4, boil the potatoes until soft, then mash them and incorporate them into the mixture. Step 5, if needed, add a bit of water to achieve the desired consistency. Step 6, place the mixture into a pie dish. Step 7, bake until the pie has a golden crust. Enjoy your delicious chicken pie. Okay, so let's do one more. Pumpkin soup by Sebastian. So preparation, 15 minutes, cook for 30 minutes. Ingredients: 1 cup chopped onion, 1 garlic clove minced, 6 cups vegetable stock, 1 medium pumpkin diced, 1 medium cup cream, salt and pepper to taste. Preparation. Step 1, heat the oil in a pan. Add the onion and garlic and gently cook until soft. Step 2, add the diced pumpkin and cook for 10 minutes until golden brown. Step 3, pour in the stock and simmer for 10 minutes, stirring often. Step 4, once the pumpkin is soft, take off the heat to allow to cool slightly, then puree with a hand blender. Step 5, stir in the cream, season with salt and pepper. Enjoy the soup warm. Okay, so you can see that these were a lot of recipes that were shared with us, and it tells us how to make them. So now you can copy it and you can create that meal yourself. So that's what we had for recipes, writing instruction, being able to write and tell someone how to make a certain meal, or it could be a drink. It could be like a smoothie. It doesn't just have to be a meal. It could also be how to make a drink, a type of drink. And it's always good to share. You know, we say sharing is caring, and a lot of people are interested in cooking, and it's good to learn. And you'll find all these recipes in cookbooks or online. So it's really important to know how to read a recipe as well as how to write one yourself, because maybe one day you need to tell someone how you made something. You want to share it with them, or maybe you want to share it with your children, you know, a special family recipe. Okay, so that's all that we had for writing